Take a look at this before and after eyebrow. The before is what the client had done. And I wanted to show her how she doesn't have to take any of it off. And I wanted to show her, and you as well, in how to build upon what you already did. So not bad. She didn't do a bad job, but it can be a little better, as you can see in the after. So stick around. And if this is you, you're definitely going to pick up some tips. Hey everybody, it's Jasmine, your brow expert. Some of you might be new to this channel, so welcome. I am your brow expert. I hope I'm going to be your brow expert. Please click the subscribe button so that way every week I'm going to give you the best brow tip. I am still shaping eyebrows at the Anastasia salon in Beverly Hills. Some of you have come by, trusting me with your eyebrows, so thank you for that. This brow tip is fairly, it's simple because I think anyone can add this to their brow repertoire. So without further ado, let's get to the model. So like I said, the brows aren't filled in that bad. She actually is doing a pretty good job. She used to do it a little bit thinner. This is much better. But the right side on me right here, or it's on your left screen, my side is naturally lower, as is hers. Part of the reason why it's naturally a tiny bit lower is that the other side, the hair sticks up, so it gives it a fuller, higher look. My side right here, the arch goes a little bit lower, so I always have to pay attention to that. So that might be you as well. So like I said, the brows weren't filled in that bad, and I showed her to focus on that side, meaning add a little bit more color than she already did just by going a shy above, as you can see right here. I'm just going above what she already did. So that's something that you can learn how to do. You don't have to worry about taking it all the way, the whole thing off. Just add to that. As you can see right here, you know, the important thing is I want you to notice that the outside corner over here, that is also pulled out a little bit. Most of us don't have that much hair, and most of us lose it as we age. Part of it, the reason is that the temples start receding, so you get this kind of look where the skin is sagging. So that's why I want you to focus on that. That happens to me, so that's what I do. And as you can see right here, just doing that little area right here made such a difference. Look at the before and after on that side, right? It's still the same shape, but it's just a little bit higher and a little bit more even with the other side. You're never gonna have it perfectly even because the hairs also grow differently than the other side. So you're gonna have that little unevenness. And I don't know, I don't mind that. She is Asian, so she's better served with a bit of a straighter look, but she likes it a little bit higher in the corner. And as you can see, I'm applying the highlighter first. This is not necessary, but the reason why I went a little lighter above the brow line, you can use a concealer. I've been asked this times before, plenty of times before. The reason why I use a highlighter above is that you can really see the outline. The outline is kind of, think of it as a template, if you will. So if I apply this above the eyebrow line, you can really see your eyebrows bit more. You can always erase that later, but underneath obviously is very important. So you're just getting this kind of white outline or a light outline, and you really, I have an old brow tattoo, so that's why you already see some color on. So I'm using the powder very lightly. Notice that I froze this right here. I'm going right at the middle. Don't go up in the front first because that just always gets too dark, too much up in the front. What I'm doing is just getting enough color on the eyebrows, the powder, and right at the edge, I'm dragging the brow brush down. The reason why I do this is it pulls the color down inside the eyebrows, and you're going right at the edge, the top edge. This allows the brows to get a little fuller without looking overly done. You don't obviously want your brows to look overly penciled or too dark, but just by going at the top edge of your brow line really gives you that extra lift, if you will. So just right at the tip, right at the tip. And you know, the brush just allows the color to go on without being too dark. And you're holding the brush this way, right? Very easy. So again, this area has the powder. I used a pencil earlier. You can use a pencil as well. You don't have to use a powder. Try both. See what's easiest for you. Sometimes powder tends to be a little bit lighter because you apply less pressure. But notice again, that outside corner. So we're doing this again. I don't know what side I'm doing here, but the most important thing is you're seeing me do it on her. So the top area is what I do first. You can do the bottom. It doesn't have to be one or the other first. But just by doing the top edge, again, raises your eyebrows, gives yourself a brow lift, because as we age, it goes down, right? I'm just, again, reapplying the top edge because I want the top edge to be really defined. The bottom area is very little, as you can see. I'm not going that much, but especially on myself because I already have some background tattooing. But you notice that I hold the brush this way. On the model, I'm behind her, so I'm laying the pencil brush this way. So this way, that way. But if you hold it over your eyebrows, it's a lot easier to access that edge right over here where the highlighter is. I am using a pencil. I didn't tell you guys that earlier, but I will use the powder. Sometimes there's not enough color. Grab the pencil, and right at the edge, you notice that the pencil is laying down. Very important. The pencil is laying down, so that way the pressure isn't too heavy. And I'm just going in an angle, just giving yourself a background and adding a little bit of color inside that little area where you might feel like you need some color. There might be some obvious gaps that the brush and the powder didn't pick up. You could wiggle that color inside. I've been asked, can you use both? Yes. Always know that you can use both powder and pencil, especially in those nights that you want a bit more of a dramatic look. The brush 18 is always my to-go. Obviously, at this point, you could just erase or clear up everything right here. And this is also the time where I shaped her eyebrows with that brush. Just tighten it up a little bit. Went inside and just not only cleaned out the highlighter, but just shaped the brush. By pressing the brush, you don't have to worry about pressing too hard. But obviously, the harder you press, the more spread out the brush gets. So control that, meaning know how hard or how light to press. That way you can shape the eyebrows, right? So above, again, shaped out. Pull it out a little bit with the spoolie brush if it's a little bit too light. But the side corners is the most important thing. Look at the after and then look at the before. That's the most important thing I want you to focus on. That was the most important thing I wanted her to focus on because this area goes down. You can really see right here. Also, I didn't say this earlier or point it out, but the ends are a tiny bit shorter. This adds to that lift. So you can see just right here, the before and after, before, not bad. The after, obviously because I did it, but it just can be elevated a tiny bit. There doesn't need to be that much effort put into it. Just a little bit will go a long way. It's my favorite saying. Little goes a long way. Beautiful before and after, right? I decided to leave the highlighter on, so I look like a donut. The reason I've been pointing this out, meaning the highlighter above, is like I said, I've been asked by some of you about using concealer above. You don't have to use the concealer above the brow line. The best product is a foundation, your favorite foundation that is, that will still outline the eyebrows if you put it right at the edge with the brush 18, just a little bit, and so you can see your eyebrows. Again, the reason why I use a highlighter to bring it out is so that way you can clearly see the outline. And I just find that the white outline or the skin tone outline, however, it's not actually white, of course, but the reason why I like that lighter outline is it just really helps guide you. Easy to take off after you're done, but it's just always a good idea to practice. Once you have it down, you're like, you know what? It's so easy to fill in my eyebrows. I don't need to do that. I still like it underneath because it really just makes the brows pop. And it allows you to make the brows look fuller without putting too much color inside your eyebrows. Okay, so remember that. Thank you so much for joining me. I will make sure to list all the products in the descriptions, including my makeup. It's been a habit of mine now because some of you have asked me what's on your lips, what's on your cheeks, or, you know, and so I'm going to list them out to you in the descriptions. I do tag them because it helps if you guys get it that way, but it's not necessary. Some of the products doesn't come up in the tag for some reason, the exact colors that is, which is why the descriptions is important. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for being on this channel. I will see you guys next week.